Oh, this is Mr. Vargas, and this is part 2 of my Meteor Mayhem tutorial. So at the end of part 1, we had a little spaceship that followed your mouse, but there was nothing to collect, nothing to crash into. The only other thing were the stars that we added to the background. So today we're going to add a meteor, and whenever you crash into the meteor, it's going to cause damage. We're going to measure this damage by having a health bar, and the health bar will deplete as you keep crashing into meteors, and after 5 hits it will be empty and you will go to a game over screen. So the first thing we're going to add, actually before we even do any coding, what we're going to do is we're going to create that game over screen. So I'm going to go to Pixlr. So this is pixlr.com. This is just a web editor I'm using. You can use another web editor if you want. But I'm just going to create a really quick game over screen. I've done this before, so I'm going to go through this rather quickly. So let's call it game over. The size is going to be 320 by 320. Let's hit create. And then I'm going to use a paint bucket tool. I'm just going to paint it black. And then I'm going to add some text. And it's just going to say game over. Let's change the color. I'm going to make it red. Press OK. So game over. Nice and big across the top. And now I'm going to add some more text. This is just going to say press enter to try again. And that's way too big, so let's just change the size. I'll go with 25. I kind of want it to stay on one line, so let me see. Let me move this down here. See if it'll fit. Oh, yep, that's perfect. So game over, press enter to try again. So now we're gonna just do file save and then just hit download, and it will automatically download to wherever your downloads go. For me, it's on my desktop. For you, it might be in another folder somewhere. All right, so we're done with Pixlr. I'm gonna close this, and let's go into our Meteor Mayhem project. And let's let the editing window open up. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna bring in our game over screen. So the way I have been doing this is I just create a new level and I call it game over. And then I do load to load the level. And then we're just clicking the top left corner and hit create. And we're gonna create an object. This is a game over object. And the game over object is gonna have the image that we created in Pixlr or in whatever program you use. So we're just gonna upload it. Choose file. It's right here on my desktop. Press OK. And we have our game over screen. You see it takes up the whole screen. Now let's code the behavior for this game over screen object. So what you want to do is when the user presses enter, you want to restart the game. So that's triggers, keyboard, and what you got to click on keyboard and you got to set what key responds to this keyboard event. So we click on that and I'm just going to press enter, and notice how it appears down here. Let's press OK. So when the enter key is pressed down, so I'm going to go to game flow, and we want to use a restart game block. Connect the down from here to here, and that's it. We're done. Our game over screen is coded and all set. Now it's time to go add our meteors. So let's go to game levels and let's load our level 1. And we're gonna add our meteor. So I'm just gonna click in an empty spot and I'm gonna hit create. We're gonna call it meteor. I'm gonna set its sprite. And I want it to be kind of big just to make the game maybe a little more challenging. So I'm gonna hit the resize tool. And right now this image is 1 grid by 1 grid. So I'm gonna just increase this to 2 grids, 2 by 2. And then I'm going to use my eraser tool, increase the grid size to make it easier to erase. And we've erased that. Now it's time to draw our meteor. So I'm going to use the pencil tool. Just pick a gray or brown. You know, I think I'm going to do the outline of it first. And you know what? I'm going to decrease this grid size so I can make it a little more detailed at least. This is fine. So I'm just going to do some kind of weird shape. And if you want, you could do some little details. That's fine. All right, now I'm gonna use the paint bucket tool and pick a different shade of gray. And that's fine right there. So this is my meteor. I'm gonna press OK. So now I need to code my meteor. So we're gonna go to behaviors. And don't worry, this image will update when we're done. And so now what we want to do is when the meteor collides with the ship, we want it to destroy itself and play a sound. All of the code for the health bar and all that, we're going to do inside the ship. So inside of the meteor, we're going to put a collision block. We'll change the type to ship. Press OK. So when the meteor collides with a ship, we want the meteor to destroy itself. So that should be under, what is that, under components? Yep, it's under components, a destroyer. And we want to play a sound, so that's also under components. And then let's select our sound. I'm gonna do choose sound. I don't really care what sound you pick, but they have explosions, so I'll just go with one of these explosion sounds. It doesn't really matter which one. Actually, I like the ones that are a little shorter. Let me see, where are those under? Explosion. You know what? It's fine. I'll just pick one of these. I just don't like that it has such a wind up. That's fine. All right, so meteor collides with ship, destroys itself, play sound. All right, now we're done with the meteor. That's it. So press OK. Press OK. You want more than one, so let's click on it. Let's hit clone. Let's put a few of these throughout our level. You maybe want to put like 7. This is probably too, these might be a little too tightly packed, but it's fine for our demo, I guess. For testing purposes, it's a little easier if they're near each other. All right, so I'm done with my meteor. Now let's do the health bar. And you know what? I'm going to move this meteor because the health bar is going to appear over here, and I don't want it to cover it. Let's go inside our ship. Let's hit edit. Let's go to behaviors. And we're going to just drag this all down because we're going to have a long chain of code up here to handle the meteor. So we're going to add a collision block. All right. So when the ship collides with meteor, we are going to, so we're going to have health. Our health is going to be 5. But what we want to do is we want to reduce that by 1. So we're going to add 2 number blocks. Okay, 1, and then let's add another one. And what we're going to do is we're going to set this first one to -1 and this second one to 5. So this represents what you start out with, and this is how much it's going to change whenever there's a collision. So then we connect the hit of this to the in of -1. That sends this -1 out to, and what we're going to do is we're going to connect it to the plus. So remember, when you add a negative number, it's like you're reducing it by 1. So every time there's a collision with the meteor, the health gets reduced by 1. And now we want to display this to the user. So we're going to add a health bar. So that's under GUI for graphical user interface. Click bar. And notice as soon as you add a bar, it's kind of faint, but you can see that it adds it over here. It's actually half full. And the reason it's half full, if you click on it, is because you see there's current value and maximum value. So current value 5 is actually fine, but what we want to do is we want to set max value to 5. And if you notice in the background, the health bar got filled. Now, if you want, you can change the color of the health bar. I'm going to leave the defaults, but you can change that if you want. All right, so now we're going to connect the out of here to the value of the bar. So whenever this changes, if this becomes 4, then the bar is going to have 4 out of 5, and it'll be reflected right here. It'll be 4/5 filled. Now, finally, so this will reduce the health bar, but we don't want it to just reduce. We want, when it runs out, we want to go to the game over screen. So if you noticed, if the health is equal to 0, go to the game over screen. We need an if. Now, Flow Labs versions of ifs are actually used, or are actually done using something called a filter, which we've used before. So I'm going to put the filter over here, and if you click on it, you can change it to equal to, press OK, and we're going to go from the out of the bar to the in of the filter. Okay, so whatever value the health bar is at, like it's going to be whatever this number is. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, one of those, it's going to be sent over here, and it's going to check to see if it's ever equal to 0. If it ever is equal to 0, then we finally go to the game over screen. So I did that by clicking on a next level block. And we're going to click on this, and then it says pick level. We're going to set it to the game over level that we created. So the pass goes to the go of next level, and we're done. So let's test our game. So I'm going to press OK, press play. So notice I have a health bar. It's full. Let's hit a meteor. So our sound played, and it went down again. That's 3 hits, 4 hits, and then the 5th hit, and we go to the game over screen. And if you press enter, it restarts the game. So that's it. That's the end of part 2, I'm sorry, of our Meteor Mayhem tutorial. In the next part, we're going to add a collectible, and we're going to add a windscreen. So good luck, and thank you for watching.